Keeps scoring touchdowns. Him and Chase loving life right now, boy.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, welcome in everybody to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. I am your host, Christian_CFS, and here's your co-host, Mr. K Camp. How you doing, Mr. K Camp?
What up, what up, what up, what up? Shalom, my Kim, to my good people, and shalom, my Al Kim, to my bad people. May you learn to become good. Why? Because we need good people in this world, on this earth. What's up, bro Ham? How was your weekend?
Man, it was good. Soccer was good.
Soccer was good, baby girl. She scored
Yeah,
any?
man. She almost did.
Almost.
Yeah,
Okay.
she almost scored one, but she hit me with that. Hey, Daddy, how many more games I got left?
She ready for this to be over.
Yep, she ready for it to be over. She came and told me, she was like, Daddy, like I only got one more game up. I was like, no, baby girl, that's for the regular season. And then you got the playoffs. She was like, what you mean playoffs? And I was like, playoffs? Yeah, baby girl, you got playoffs. So she is getting ready for that. So she counting it down though. So technically they only got like 2 more games left, unless they end up winning, if they win their seed, but I doubt it.
Gotcha.
I doubt it. But what about you, man? You know you got Cristiano Ronaldo over there scoring like 5 to 6 goals a game.
He had 2 yesterday. Yeah, 2 yesterday. I almost wait to the end and score 2. We got a big matchup this week though, because we played the only team to beat us. So
okay,
we want to beat them though. We want our revenge. So I'm gonna get him to work on some ladder drill. We're gonna get to it.
Okay. Well, you got the boy worth doing ladder drills?
Yeah, because he didn't work on his lateral movement. Like he's fast, straight line. I need him to be able to go, you know what I'm saying, side to side. Because I'm also gonna put him in flag football next year. So
well, you know what you need to do? That. You need to go on and move down to Florida. Man, you know they got them sugarcane fields, and then like that's how the kids get that agility. Like they light off like some sugarcane fields, and then they try to catch the rabbits. And
for real?
They work on their agility, trying to get the rabbit.
Really? Like catching chickens? Like you catching chickens? Like like boxers do when they trying to catch chickens?
Yeah, like like that. Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
But yeah, man, we're gonna get off the kids, man. Get off the kids. We're gonna get to this nice show. Like this is gonna be the episode 66. It's gonna be our roundtable. So doing our roundtable. First time going live within a while, so we just want to bring on some guests to have some other good conversations besides just us. But on the topics, we're not going to deter y'all. We are going to keep the same topics like what we've been doing for the past couple of weeks. So we're going to stick with the strategy focus. Then we're going to do the fantasy question of the week. Then we go to CGP news, and then we're going to go to buy, sell, and hold. So. And then we might have a little twing at the very end for some getting you ready for your fantasy championships for playoff ready. But let's go and bring one of the good old special guests up onto him. Let him go and introduce himself. Welcome in, Chase. Welcome in. How you doing?
What's going on, man? Caught me off guard here for a minute. What's going on with y'all?
He watching this book. Y'all see him repping.
Yeah,
you know, play.
Gotta wear the red, baby. What's going on? Hope everybody doing good out there. We just hanging. We just watching.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Just get it.
Hey, man. So this is Chase, the owner of Chasing Bets with Chase. Just one of the cool guys. If you ever need any betting advice or anything like that, go on and reach out to him. He'll help you out. He did end up winning a nice little parlay for the WNBA. So we did win a nice little parlay.
Nice one. Shout out to the New York Liberty too for winning their first championship in over like 5 decades. Shout out to them.
28
Shout
years.
out to the ladies for the New York Liberty. Let's go.
28 years. Hold on. Is that when the league was like almost established? Did they win like the first couple ones?
Just New York in general.
Yeah.
Oh,
Knicks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, New York didn't win a championship in 20
Islanders.
years.
Oh, man.
That's why the Jets and the Giants, as far as basketball.
Yeah.
They haven't won one. So
Yeah.
But
All right.
Giants, one of the greats, Eli Manning. He had to.
Yeah, true.
He brought home the Giants.
He did do that.
But they ain't been 28 years, was it though?
Well, for basketball,
2000.
Yeah, like one of the last time.
Okay, basketball.
Basketball has probably been longer than that. Basketball. Come on, basketball. Shit, it might have been like 50. They won to like Walt Frazier, I think.
Nah, it's what Phil Jackson won. What don't Phil Jackson got a ring with the Knicks?
Yeah.
That might have been what Walt Frazier was going on. That might have been. You gonna make me look that up.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Knicks.
Well, like while you're looking that up, I'm gonna go in and bring the last guest
Go
up
bring
on the
in
here.
my other guy.
All right, we're bringing the last special guest up here. He's been here before. You ain't seen him once. You ain't seen him twice.
Hey.
But just know we're about to have a great podcast today, man. Here's Mr. N.M. Porterfield of Burn the Playbook. Welcome in to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast.
Appreciate it. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Just so know everybody.
My hair look crazy right now.
What, your hair?
Yeah, hair look crazy right now.
You look good. Looking good. You all right.
Yeah, man. You fine over here.
Woo.
So
Pause.
I was about to say it, but I didn't want to throw it out there. Appreciate you. Hey, I appreciate the love.
The way you said it, like what?
I wasn't talking like that though. I was just saying like, hey man, you fine? Like, hey, like this.
I look good.
He meant like you fine, like you fine.
I'm good.
Like you good, man. Like you good, man. You know how everybody be throwing out words and everything.
Boy, them Buccaneers ain't playing, boy. That's Lamar on the ground twice.
Yeah,
Just so everybody know, we are doing this podcast as the game is going on. So you're gonna hear
Chase,
we got a Bucs fan. You said what? 19 years?
19 years, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay.
But we're gonna get to it. We're gonna kick it off
No.
with our no. You said no?
No, I was saying Chase 1973 since the Knicks won.
Oh,
that was with Walt Frazier and Willis Reed.
Woo. Man, that's a long time. That's a long time.
That's almost 48 years, bro. That's almost 5 decades.
Stephen A. Smith, he dedicated, ain't he?
Right. Spike Lee.
All right, so we're gonna kick it off to this great question. We're gonna do the strategy focus. Mid-season trade deadlines, timing your big moves. So what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about like it is close to the mid-season, and like how can you time actually timing your actual big trade moves? Are you doing that through over time, or are you just steadily looking at players and then just saying, okay, I'm gonna go get this guy, and then changing up? Okay, never mind, I'm gonna go for this guy. What are y'all doing? Let's start with your favorite author below me. Then we'll go to Chase, and then we'll hit you up last, Mr. K Camp.
So, if you're asking me if you just now trying to do your big trade, you probably already started too late. I and me and K Camp talked about this about a week or two ago. I was like, now's about the time where people got to decide. You trying to win it, you trying to prepare for the future. What you trying to do? Because what happens is, one, as the year goes on, you have more injuries and things like that happen. Two, people realize, hey, well, you need to win. You trying to win now, so you might be a little more desperate. Now I can ask for a little bit more. So if you wait to start working on those trades, then what's going to end up happening is either one, you're going to get gouged by somebody trying to get over on you. They're going to be like, yeah, I didn't know that you needed a running back that bad, but now that I look at your team, and you trying to make the playoffs, you might need to throw in an extra first round pick or something in there, But the other hand of that is, trade deadlines happen, injuries happen. We got a couple players like Brandon Ayuk. He's done for the season now, and so if you were somebody who was trying to get, a wide receiver, or if you had him on your team, Now somebody who you may have been reaching out to trying to trade, they're going to see your situation and say, "Oh man, well now I need to ask for a little bit more because you need them more than you needed them before." So I personally believe after the first 4 or 5 weeks, you need to have an assessment of what your team is expected to do. Which my team this year, one of my teams this year has been kind of right in the middle of. I could win, I could lose, so I haven't really known where, but I'm just kind of riding the train. But about week 4 or 5, you should know what your team is capable of, and if you don't feel good about it, start planning for the future. And if you do feel good about it, start planning for the future. Start looking for who you're gonna add to help you get through those playoff weeks. But yeah, if you just now starting, you might be behind the 8 ball because I guarantee you somebody else has already started looking.
I totally agree with you on that. So what will your trade targets be if you're just trying to make that trade?
I mean, so if we talk about the actual players, I mean, there's a list of players that I'd probably try and target right now, but if you can get a tight end right now, a good tight end, which there aren't, the only tight ends that have really been consistent, Brock Bowers and Evan Ingram as of late, he's been pretty consistent. But other than that, I mean, you don't know what you're going to get as far as tight end. So if you can see somebody who maybe they got a good tight end, but they're not going to make the playoffs, hey, see what you can do to get that tight end. Hey, man, I'll give you a good running back for your tight end. That's something that could be valuable later on during the playoff. Excuse me.
Well, it depends, too, if it's one of them premium leagues, too, so you pay a little more for that tight end. Right now, if you look at your top 4 tight ends, it's kind of a 4 names you kind of really didn't think about it was going to be there. It's like you got George Kittle, Brock Bowers, Hunter Henry, and Trey McBride. Those 4 tight ends average between 5 through 8 targets a game. Brock Bowers, since week 5, has got 12, 10, and 14 on
yesterday
on week 7. So you're right about that. For me, the other part of that game is, yes, you can have a good tight end. You also got to have receivers. A lot of people stack their team with running backs, but you got to have a receiver. So like for me, like for my team, I need a receiver because D-Hop, he's done with, so we got to move on. The rest of them is kind of up in the air. So do I go out there and target a Stephon Diggs, or do I go get a Amari Cooper? It all depends on how much you're confident in the day. But for me, if you're trying to make a trade for Amari Cooper, or you're trying to make a trade for Jerry Jeudy, any of these guys, you need to make it now before week 8, because if you wait till next week, the value goes up. Right now, yesterday, as the Cleveland Browns, their number 1 is considered to be, what's his name? I just had it. Let me see.
Jerry Jeudy.
You had Jerry Jeudy.
You're talking about Amari Cooper.
Yeah. So on Cleveland, number 1. All right. You had Elijah Moore. On week 7, Elijah Moore had 7 targets.
Mm-hmm.
Where Jerry Jeudy only had, where we at? I just had to pull it up. Where Jerry Jeudy only had 5. So you gotta pick your leg. You gotta pick it. Who's gonna be the cheapest? I would probably go Elijah Moore. He'll be a little cheaper because Jerry Jeudy do carry that household name, and they may ask for more. Now, the other side of that would be, you got to make sure you got a receiver that's gonna get targets. I would go chase Garrett Wilson, 2nd round, 3rd round pick, just in case Devontae Adams get hurt. Just in case somebody gets hurt, you do have somebody that's gonna play at least 60 snaps a game. So you got to make sure that you make that trade. Like, you got to make a trade like today, before the week is over, before the next week starts. On that part.
Okay. What about you, Mr. K Camp?
In the words of Fat Joe, to what your favorite author and Chasing Bitch was saying, yesterday's price is not today's price. No, I go today's price. I go. How did I say it go?
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Today's price.
Right.
So, I say like about week 6. About week 6, if you 3-3, you 2-4, you 4-2 or better. And to both their points, the trade deadline is coming up, right? You know who you have a good sample size of who gonna still be good for the rest of the year, possibly. So you can make that decision. I would say around week 6 to make that decision. I was not supposed to win this week. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I got to figure it out.
Yes, it was. It was all part of the plan
this week. So I got to figure it out because, like to your point, your favorite author point, I'm waiting. It's gonna be week 10, week 9, and I ain't gonna have a trade partner. I'm gonna have to just stick with what I got. So I have a decision to make. But yeah, I would say around week 6, you can just start making a decision where you need to trade to try to get better, or trade off some pieces to get some good assets and thinking about the future for the rookie draft and your team next year.
Yep. I like all the answers. I'll just save my point for last. I'll copy off what they all said. Nah, it's pretty much just like I'll use my team for example. My team was pretty good. I am the defending champ in like one of the leagues that we all are in. Like I ended up going back-to-back champ, so I'm on that line where it's like hard to do. Like I'm like straddling. So like I won back-to-back, but I'm trying to also go for that three-peat. But then I know for a fact I have good assets on my team that could end up winning it all. But it's sort of like what the Rams did. You got to live and die by the sword. You trade away all your picks like the first couple years. So pretty much I traded all my firsts last year, had about 4 of them. Traded them off for like all these older players just so I could win. The year before that, did the exact same thing. So right now, we ain't got no picks. But then you actually see your team is like injury one starts happening. Then that snowball effects just keeps going. And now you're looking at your team. You're 3-4. So you're looking at it, you're like, I think it's that time just to go and get ready for that other side. That other side called the losers bracket.
Right.
Like I don't know what that losers bracket is, but your boy might be going there. And then if I'm going, it ain't gonna be the same team that I got. So
see, that's me and you talked about this yesterday, and I was talking about how usually if I want to plan for the future, I'm like, what can I sell off?
Yeah.
The issue is I like so much of my team, I don't really want to sell any of my pieces. So it's like I want to, because I want everybody kind of wants Ashton Genty next year. That's the golden goose next year. Everybody's seeing what he's doing in college. So when he becomes available, that's who people gonna want. But I would love to have him on my squad, but I'm not trying to sell off any of my pieces to get him. So what I want is for my team to either not perform until later in the year, so I can make the losers bracket, or for the people I play against to just start playing real well. Because it's like I don't want to take the Trump way out and just set people that ain't gonna win. But at the same time, it is what it is. It's like I want to win and I don't want to win at the same time. It's a really weird year, it's funny because when me and K Camp talked early in the off season. And I think this was the year I told him, I was like, this is the only year I really don't have a game plan. I was like, I really don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like when this auction come around, when this draft come around, like I got a idea, but I was like, I really don't have a game plan this year. So I'm still kind of riding that same thought process of not having a game plan, but I'm about to be 5-5, so 4-3 or whatever I am. So we'll see.
Everybody, don't let that dude lie to you. That dude got a game plan every year. And you know what that is? It is called the daggone washing machine. He don't know what he wants to do. He just throws it in there, and then whatever it lands on, that's what he's gonna hit.
That's what we rolling with.
That dude be like 1 week he be like, all right, we going for the playoffs. The next week that dude is talking about, all right, we going for the losers bracket, man.
He definitely a windshield wiper, boy.
And that's what it's gonna be too. Hey, I adapt.
week to week. He adapt.
I adapt.
Ooh, that's funny.
All right, we're gonna go to the next segment. The next segment is we got two fancy questions of the week. So we got two fancy questions. So the first one we gonna start off with is the one that everybody wants to know. And then for the people out there, please let us know. Like, chime in up in the comments and everything. Let us know what's going on. But the fancy question, one of them, it is: has Deshaun Watson played his last game in the NFL as a QB? What are y'all thoughts? We're gonna actually go the opposite way. So we're gonna go to Mr. K Camp, down to Chase, then over to your favorite author, then back to me.
I know I brought this question to the table, and I don't know. He's played his last game in Cleveland for sure. I do not think. I think he's gonna take his time on this Achilles. I don't think he's gonna rush it. I think Cleveland ain't gonna rush him. Cleveland got out. They got out, and what am I trying to say? They got out. I'm trying to say that they effed up and they got over and got lucky because he got hurt, and now they're gonna probably do an insurance clause to where they don't have to pay him as much as they were supposed to pay him, but they some dummies for paying him that money in the first place. So having said that is I'm saying with 80% probability he's played his last game as an NFL quarterback, because the product that he's put on the field for the past 2 years, not good. You already got that baggage and you ain't been playing good. You know, people can get over the baggage if you're playing good, but you ain't been playing good and you got that baggage. I don't know. He might take the money and run. And I don't know. I see, yeah, but 80% probability that he has played his last down as an NFL quarterback, I believe. Because I don't think nobody's gonna give him a chance.
All right. What do you say, Mr. Chase?
He hasn't played his last one. Along with Jameis Winston still has a plan. Deshaun Watson will still have a place in the NFL. My favorite quarterback, Winston always said, I need LASIK to fix my eyes to see the defense. So,
hey, right, there you go.
LASIK, that's my guy. Unfortunately, Tampa Bay drafted him, first overall, but we didn't invest into him, which is, that's a good job by the management on that. But Deshaun Watson still got talent. The thing about it is maybe it's just the Cleveland, they had weapons in the beginning, then the Chubb got hurt, and then he playing around with massage parlors, and then you trade Amari Cooper. But we have seen way worse than this. He will have a place as a starting quarterback. I don't know. There's a couple of teams out there that may take a chance on him. You can look at Miami. You can look at a possibility at Carolina Panthers. And there's a couple of teams out there that might still need his services. The New York Giants, they may not give him such a big contract. Now, as far as this big contract, that's on the whip. I just read right here. It says that Cleveland still owes $46 million per season before 25 and 26. And it said it may be voided due to injury. So it's not even a guarantee.
Right, T. They might have got off.
Yeah, so it may got, they don't have that Derek Carr injury clause where like, okay, you hurt. See you later, buddy. But I really feel like that the Cleveland Brown organization may just give him a buyout. May just say, look here, man, we'll convert all this to a guaranteed bonus and give you $2 million. Pay the rest out, give him a $2 million salary. Kind of like what they did for Aaron Rodgers in New York, where he took a $2 million, $60-something million pay cut the first year. And now this year he's making like $60 million. So I think they'll end up doing something like that. But as far as last game, maybe you're right though. In Cleveland, but NFL,
he done in Cleveland for sure.
This one, I got a few thoughts on it. So overall, he hasn't been good in Cleveland at all. At no point Cleveland has been good. Although, funny enough, yesterday before he got hurt, he was like 13 of 15 for 100 yards. So
really?
that was I was actually surprised that he was passing well yesterday. So I don't know if he was just then trying to put it together or what, but from his time of joining, is that Zay Flowers hurt? Yeah. So from his time joining the Cleveland Browns, he hasn't been good. He is a soon-to-be 30-year-old quarterback coming off an ACL. And now, it's not saying that it can't be done because we're looking at, we're looking at Kirk Cousins dish it after an Achilles. We're looking at Daniel Jones off of an ACL. We're looking at Aaron Rodgers after an Achilles. So it's not saying it can't be done, but I will say that those teams had a different level of investment in their guys, or those guys were performing at a different level than what Deshaun is. Like I said, Deshaun is on year 3 now in Cleveland. First year suspension, second year was shoulder injury, and then this year Achilles. So it's like, and he has an injury history now. Like because he had an ACL his rookie year. Is that right? So he's got an injury history. He hasn't been playing good. Financials. I know you said $46 million, but I feel like I saw where they restructured it to where he owes it's $79 million or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw it was like they changed his contract so it wasn't so big of a cap hit this year.
They did do that.
Yeah, and so I think it's still mostly guaranteed or all guaranteed or something like that. So it's from the financial aspect of it, it's like you owe almost $80 million for this guy, even if he doesn't play. I mean, what do you do? Like you almost have to play him. So on the physical side, with his injuries and all that stuff, and then his lack of compelling play, I wouldn't see him getting any more time. But because the Browns front office has not been intelligent in the way they handled this whole thing, the fact they gave him all that money anyway, and the fact they've been so adamant, even with his bad play, that they're like, he's our quarterback, something tells me that he might play again for the Browns.
For the Browns?
For the Browns.
I think that's a done deal, Nigel.
And the only reason why is because they can't get off the financials. So what are they going to do? Nobody's taking that contract.
The insurance clause. I'm sure there's some.
So I think the insurance clause probably would be something where if he can't play. Yeah. But if he decides, no, I'm going to get healthy and keep playing, I think they got to pay him.
So I'm going to go back to this pretty much. So Chase, you was correct. In 2025, his base salary is going to be $46 million. His current salary this year is only $1.2 million. But then his dead cap for like the next 2 years. So next year and then in 25 and 26, his dead cap, his cap hit is actually $72 million.
That's what I saw.
Year. But then his dead cap and that's why I say like they're gonna try to find something sort of similar to what they did ahead of time before. You know how they got out up on the clause saying like, hey, if there was ever any allegations or something like that at the very beginning, that they're physically going to put something up in the clause. I think they're going to do something like that for like injuries wise now. Like out of nowhere, they put something in the clause talking about how like if he ever was to go back to court or have like another allegation done on him, then he doesn't get like any sign-on bonus or something like that. They did that during the summer. I can't remember every word of what it was, but like pretty much his dead cap hit is $200 million this year. Next year is $172 million. The year after that, it is $99 million. And then the year after that is $26 million. So I don't know how in the world they going to end up doing this, but
that's what I'm saying.
Look at this. So, you looking at Sports Track, Christian, right now?
Yeah.
Look at the contract notes at the bottom. What does that last bullet point say?
You're talking about full no trade clause 24 through 26?
That's what I'm saying. Like, Full no trade, 24 to 26.
Doing?
They on there for the books, man. So they may not like it, but he might be coming back at least for one more year in Cleveland.
But you got to look at it though, like, and then I think we talked about this too, Mr. K Camp, dealing with like the coach. I don't think he fits the coach's philosophy.
Yeah.
So he's trying to physically be in a system that he doesn't even fit. And that's one thing, like we've all seen that up in the NFL, like where you have all these good players that are in systems that they want the one coach is in there, sort of like the Belichick. Like the Belichick is in like almost every, like, no, you're coming to the Patriots, you're going to be a Patriot. This is the way we do it, and this is how we do it. Not everybody's like that. Not everybody can actually adapt to that. Nobody can, like, the dude has a good skill set. Just use his skill set for the best of y'all's team.
Are they going to draft a quarterback this year?
Probably.
If they get number 1 overall pick, number 2 overall pick, they're going to draft a quarterback this year?
Man, that's going to be hard because a lot of people going to draft a QB overall because that. I think.
So how many quarterbacks have Cleveland drafted that have been almost busters
every year?
Yeah, I think for over the past 20 years they've had like over. Yeah, I think over the past 20 years it's been like 15 plus quarterbacks or something like that.
Yeah, because you had Johnny Manziel.
Yep.
Then Colt McCoy.
Yep.
Was it Deshaun Kaiser or something like that?
Tim Couch.
Yeah.
He tried to be like a third round with Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah, I mean they are.
Yeah, they're who they've always been, and they just showed us when they paid him that money who they continue to be. They had one good year with Baker, and I guess a good year, a decent year last year, but y'all still the same. Tiger don't change his stripes.
So
y'all bring really into a third world country.
So let me ask you this: if Deshaun does have to play again, at what point does the fan base demand that ownership sell the team?
He just bought it. He can't sell it. He just bought it like 3 years ago.
They got a new owner? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Hazel bought it like in 2020.
Oh, I'm about to look that up right now.
Yeah, I thought that owner had been there for a while.
Yeah, he's been there like maybe he was the one that brought Watson over. He's the one that spent all the money. He owned like Pilot gas stations and shit.
Oh.
Yeah, because remember the last ownership had what's his name up there? The former Green Bay coach. Who was that? Mike what's his name? It was Green Bay coach. Dang, what's his name? I don't know, went blank. He was a GM for him, and he drafted
Mike Holmgren?
Yeah, Mike Holmgren. Yeah. And he drafted didn't he draft Colt McCoy? Man, I gotta look. We all gotta run. We gotta run to the computers.
Well, I'm over here looking up, trying to figure out like who the owner is and like when he became the owner.
Yeah,
Jimmy Haslam. Yeah.
Jimmy and D Haslam.
Yeah, the Haslam. He bought it.
He bought a minority interest in the Steelers in 2008. In 2012, he reached an agreement with the Browns. So in 2012. So it's been about 12 years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Still though, I didn't know who. I thought it was the same for how it's ever been.
But in that 12 years though, you got to think about it. In that 12 years, it's been terrible. I mean, in
the 12 years, you had Brandon Whedon, you had Jason Campbell, then you had Brian Hoyer, you had Johnny Manziel, you had Josh McCown, you had Cody Kessler, you had Deshaun Kaiser, you had Baker Mayfield in 18, Baker in 2019, 20, Baker, then Baker in 2021, then Jacoby Brissett. And then you also had Deshaun last year in 2023 and Deshaun this year. So they pretty much been throwing QBs out there.
Right.
Look, he just said right there. What's his name? Jacoby Brissett. That's what Deshaun Watson future is right there. Thank you.
I can see that.
Backup, perennial backup forever.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Like the only reason I can't see that. The only reason I can't see that is because Jacoby is a locker room guy, and he's a guy that teams feel good marching him up in front of a podium and saying this is the leader of our team.
Yeah.
I don't think any team would feel good about like the Browns basically took the biggest gamble ever in saying like we know this guy he's gonna be viewed negatively. Our hope is that he's gonna win so many games that people forget about it. They gambled and they lost. Like,
but my thing is this though, like that's how the Browns are though. Like I don't think they actually had a plan. Like I just think they just said, "Hey, I need a QB, and I'm physically going to go for this guy because I know we're missing that key factor. Maybe you can get us to that next level."
right.
But I don't think they had a plan because the first thing I would have brought in is like my coach and was like, "Hey, what can you do with him?" And like, what's your plan for him? Because physically, obviously, you see, like ever since Deshaun has been there, it seems like the coach doesn't have a plan for him. He doesn't fit his scheme.
Right.
So like, I think it comes down to the coach where he should be able to use Deshaun up in his strengths, which he's pretty much just not doing that.
Daddy, speak on it.
Oh, we got a little man here.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
and the Browns just
It's
lost
bedtime.
the playoffs in 2023, so it's not like they just terrible. I mean, they can't
Well,
catch a break.
So it's funny is that when they had Baker, they were decent. Baker, they had they really burnt that bridge there.
They did.
And then they were bad until Flacco took over.
Mhm.
And when Flacco took over, it was like, oh, snap. Like, no, this team is actually pretty good. Evans is down. That don't look good.
It's hamstring. It's tight. It's hamstring, like it's hamstring.
That seems like something might have popped.
You think so?
The way he snapped. So when I pulled my hamstring, y'all remember that video of me juking highlighter? That's what I did. I pulled my hamstring.
That was your growing.
Good gracious, he hit hard, boy. He rolled like an anime character.
Yeah. So look, and they were 11-6 last season. So
Yeah.
I mean, the fans can't beat that, man. It just got to be okay. What do we do now?
Well,
I
that's
mean-
the thing, though, is that point blank, like Deshaun does not fit the scheme that the head coach is trying to run.
Right, because that was
Like,
a Joe Flacco team. Joe Flacco
Yeah.
came in and made him 11-6.
So that's what I would physically do. Like, let me see what DTR has, and we're gonna see it. Like,
Oh, he
what is
out
DTR?
He out too.
He hurt his
But
finger
I-
or something.
Yeah, with a finger.
Oh, that's even better. You already know what Famous James is about to show.
Oh yeah, he doing
Because you know
30,
Famous James, he ain't no
30 for 30.
he ain't
And
no dual threat now.
30.
And
30 for 30.
now the thing is, Jameis is a locker room guy too. That's the other thing.
He
Even
is.
though he
Come on,
like guys, he may say some wild stuff, but the guys like him. They'll play for him. They'll rock for him. So
He gonna eat the W's.
now it may be he may end up being the most expensive backup in the league. I mean that might be if Jameis go out there and start slinging it, then and you just say I'm gonna go back to Deshaun, like that's gonna seem crazy. Like if Jameis got it, like I'd sign Jameis for the cheap. You know, I mean, you could probably keep him, be like, hey, we'll give you 3 years. You know, 10, 15 mil a year. Well, I don't even know if they can afford that. What they paying? What they paying Deshaun? They may not can afford it. Hey man, can you hang around for 5 mil a year? But there's another. I heard somebody say this, and it sounds crazy, but it might work. Would you? Let's say you're a team, you got the cap, and they say we'll give you Myles Garrett and Deshaun, but you got to take the cap. You got to take his contract. We'll give you Myles Garrett.
All right, you gotta look at both. You gotta throw me
Trade
the
him to
numbers right
Carolina.
now.
Is that we're going
Nah,
to Carolina with him?
Nah, dog, we ain't got no. They don't have any cap over there.
No, yeah, it's got to be a team with cap, because really, at the end of the day, once they trade Deshaun, if he gets traded anywhere, that team probably cutting him. Like nobody's gonna use him. I don't think any team is desperate enough to be like, oh, he's our guy at quarterback. Like there's so many other backup quarterbacks you can go with.
He ain't playing next year, no way. He ain't playing 2026. Watch.
No, he
If he
come
come
back.
back.
About, what time? Like when Nick Chubb come back? What, week 7? Yeah.
He ain't come back. No. I
We need
guarantee
Chubb
he ain't playing none of next year.
Oh,
No,
Hit five.
well, so I'll say this: Kirk Cousins blew his Achilles around the same time, right? Maybe like a week or two earlier, and he was here for the start of this year. He can be back if he really wants to be back. He can be back next year.
Where you at? That part.
Yeah.
I don't think he want to be back in Cleveland, especially after them booing him.
Oh yeah, man, I seen him crying. Yeah, but see, the thing is, he's locked in now. The thing is, he may be able to say, "Hey, I will change my contract if you guys trade me," because I'm sure that trade clause is if he says he wants to be traded. So that may be how he gets out of it. That may be how Cleveland gets out of it. It's like, hey, look, you want to change the scenery. We want to get off of your contract. Will you let us trade you to this team, and then you and this team negotiate a new contract? He gonna miss out on a lot of money because ain't no team gonna honor all that money that they owe him. But that was bad, Baker.
That'd be bad for him. That'd be like bad for business up on his area because that's like $140 million that's coming to me.
So he can either say I'm gonna stay in Cleveland and just collect my check, and
I would do,
or if he wants to play, which when I look in his eyes, he don't look like somebody who want to play football no more. I don't see the desire to play football in his eyes.
Preaching now.
And some of that can be from the environment. They hate him in Cleveland. Like your own fans, his fans been booing him since he got signed, basically. So it's like he don't get no love in Cleveland. Like
I don't think any QB gets any love up in Cleveland. Like nobody wants to go there.
Baker was getting some love.
Baker was getting some love. Well, he didn't want to go there. They gave him so much money. I gotta say, yeah, okay.
Right.
He told them no. They came back. We'll give you this.
And wasn't it on like the last hour or something like that?
Yeah, because remember, it was only two teams. It was Atlanta and Cleveland.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because that's
Atlanta messed up Matt Ryan. Right.
Matt Ryan got pissed off, went to the Colts and destroyed his career.
Right. That's exactly what happened.
Like you should have just retired and you've been the all-time great Atlanta, but then you go over there and him and Phillip Rivers, boy. Woo, jeez.
Well, Phillip Rivers get to the playoffs though. Philly Rivers get to the playoffs. It went like 11-5, I think.
All right, well, that was a nice question. Fantasy question of the week. Well, I already knew it was. That's why I just let it go. But like on the next fantasy question, sort of similar to like the first one. When should you make that blockbuster trade? I know we kind of spoke on it a little bit earlier, but what week or two are you trying to make that blockbuster trade? It's more of like a sneak up where nobody saw it coming. What weeks and like what players might you actually try to do just to make that blockbuster trade?
Who we starting with?
We can start with Chase, then go to you, then go to K Camp, and then I'll finish last.
Blockbuster trade. What do we mean by blockbuster? So we just
a
trade
blockbuster trade.
Blockbuster. All right. So I'm gonna tell you right now. So we'll use my team for example. Since we 5-2. So my blockbuster trade would have to be for at least a top 3 receiver. So that means I either have to go St. Brown or CD Lamb.
Ooh, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to?
He only talking to one person right now.
Only one person.
Yeah. Or do I buy low now and go after Marvin Harrison Jr. since he ain't did nothing yet? But if I'm making a blockbuster trade today, I'm gonna do whatever I can do to get either AJ Brown, Nico Collins. He hurt. My bad.
But that's good though. Like
come back,
if you think he's gonna be good for the playoffs, it's a good time to get him low.
Yeah, and then the other one I would put all my eggs in the basket with Brian Thomas Jr. I know one person here is not gonna let him go, but I know somebody out there is probably a 1-5 team that has Brian Thomas Jr. and was thinking like he really wasn't that guy. So I can see him making that trade. But yeah, that trade needs to go down now. I would trade for a wide receiver right now. That's what I need.
You out here slick selling, or you give me a objective opinion? Sound like you slick selling out here.
Nah, we ain't selling now. If you want to go with the running back,
yeah, he's planting them after he's
playing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. Now, if I was looking for a running back, of course, I would go after Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a top 3 running back right now. If you see right now, it takes 5-10 Bay players to bring him down. Now, the other running back is Cryer Williams. That man gets a touchdown every single game. Between him, Montgomery, and Gibbs, they're guaranteed. No one's trading Breece Hall right now because the coach already came out last night and said Breece Hall 80% the offense. So I don't know what Devontae Adams is going to do. Garrett Wilson, he's over with. So we know that it's the Adams and LeVar show, Adams and Lazard show. So, but yeah, that'd be my blockbuster trade. Would be for at least a top 3 wide receiver.
Okay. What about yours, Mr. K Camp? Since
I forgot the question. We said what week is it to make the good blockbuster trade? You said what'd you say? I'm sorry.
So it's like, when should you make that blockbuster trade, and then also try to give like a week to like sneak it up on somebody? Like Chase was pretty much letting people know, like, here are all the guys that I'm going for because my team is like this 5-2.
Right. I would say week 6, week 7, like you said, his team is 5-2. Like going after Nico, I think that could be a sneaky blockbuster because he's injured right now. So you able to get Nico for the low, maybe not low, but lower than if he was playing, because when he went out, he was leading the league in receiving. So like getting the Nico Collins, you are a wide receiver away, a stud away. I think you 5-2 want to make that run. I think because I think most I don't know for sure. Most fantasy leagues, their trade deadlines were like week 8, week 9, same as the real NFL. I think ours is the only one that's fucking in week like 13 or something crazy. So like week 7 is your week. You 5-2, like Chase said. Go make that blockbuster trade. Come on, Bucks. I need y'all to cover this 9-point spread. I'm gonna be mad.
Cause see, if you look at last year, your league, I was 0-6. Then I made a big trade, and then I went 10-6. Still didn't make playoffs, but I won 10 straight after that.
You won for real?
Yeah, I was like 0-7 or 0-6, and I won like 10 straight. Cause
you won 10 straight?
Yep. Because I picked up. I didn't even know. Because I think it was that big old trade I made, and you was like, damn, you traded everybody away. I think I got Rashad White. I can't remember all the players I got, but we traded the whole thing, and I still didn't make playoffs.
But still, 10 wins. That's tough.
So 9 wins, 8 wins, whatever it was. I know I was like 0-6, but it came back. So the longer you wait, the more the price is gonna cost. So
yeah.
Right.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yeah, so like me, like if I'm looking at if we all talking about our teams right now, my team is hurting up in like 2 positions. Like I'm hurting up in at like QB because my QBs aren't producing like that. So I'm looking at some of these QBs, looking at some of these teams that are actually out there and saying like, hey, like is it time for me just to make this run and everything? And this is when it's coming to, and some of the guys that I'm looking at out there, looking at like a Dak Prescott. He plays for the Cowboys, but I'm looking at what he can do for me, and
don't put up points because
they always gonna have to throw the ball. Like it's this name of the game. Mike McCarthy's gonna always throw the ball. Do I try to nickel and dime and try to get like a Daniel Jones, even though Daniel Jones really isn't that good? But what I'm looking for is just like his running ability, maybe something like that. That's like him throwing to Malik Neighbors, putting all my eggs in one basket, just trying to make sure that he can force feed him, but then also be good up on the back end. Or do I go for like somebody like a Bo Nix? Like we just saw what happened to Bo Nix and like what they did against the Saints. And as we can tell right now, the Saints are some type of pretenders out there because they have not done anything good ever since the first 2 weeks when they beat the brakes off two bad teams, and everybody thought the Saints were it. And then I
didn't
will
think
give this hold on. Let me give you credit. Mr. K Camp did say this is the first 2 weeks. We can't give them credit yet. But let me see what they're going to do up in the next 2 weeks. And we saw what they did up in the next 2 weeks. So that's some things that I'm looking at for some guys like that, trying to trade at the deadline, trying to get somebody up on the squeaks. My team is straddling the line. I got to pick between the two. What am I going to end up doing? Am I going to physically just try to go all out for the playoffs? Because if my team does get back and then they are healthy, I do have a great chance to end up doing a three-peat, something that has never been done up in this league. Or do I just chalk it up and say, hey, let's just move on to next year and just try to do our best after that? And that's some of the things that we got to do. And now, since your favorite author is back, let's go and let him finish it off on what we are doing for the fantasy question of the week. Are you back or no? All right,
Joe. He on the screen then. What is he doing?
All right, we're gonna go.
Remind me of my days. Like, Chase.
We're gonna get him off the screen.
So let me ask you this: what about Cooper Kupp?
I think that's because you got to realize Puka really isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing. Like, he ain't came back. So I really don't know which one you actually want to go for. So, like, it really, I would go for Cooper if I'm trying to win it all. But it depends on.
Do you think he can make it the next? We come back week 8, right? So
he's supposed to be back Thursday. He's supposed to be back Thursday, and then with him being back, it should be something that is good. That should be so. What I'm trying to figure out is what is the price for Cooper Kupp?
Right. So I'm looking at the price now, and he's still a first round pick. Instead of 2, now just 1. Some of the trades that I looked at as it happened in the last 2 days is someone traded Joe Mixon and Cooper Kupp for a first round and second round pick. And then the other trade was here, Hunter Henry, Cooper Kupp, Brian Thomas Jr., 6 first round picks, 25, 25, and then the 26. So they had 4 and 25 and 2 and 26. So they pretty much sold a whole team to try to win it. Hopefully
to win it all.
Right, they can win it all, though. That's a rebuild. So
I understand that. I've been there. I was there last year, and sometimes you just got to make that. You got to put in. It's just like everybody likes to play a little Texas Hold'em here and there. Sometimes you just got to push it all in and just go for it all. And now, since your favorite author is back, we're going to give him the last cue off for the fantasy question of the week. This is the part 2 of the edition, and it is, when should you make that blockbuster trade? We have each gave a scenario. I did the quarterbacks. Mr. K Camp pretty much just gave his philosophy of it. And then Mr. Chase gave us the wide receiver edition, and sort of similar to like some running backs.
So, and hopefully y'all can hear me. Hopefully I'm coming through good. Apparently StreamYard on my phone overheated everything and shut my whole phone down. So I had to find another device to go to.
Damn, Jordan, I told you, see, you stay with Apple, it'll be good.
Yeah, my phone started getting hot, and it said 21 apps are now closing, and I said, "Oh, okay."
Damn.
But anyways, to the question. So right now, obviously at this point you've assessed like, hey, I need to make a trade to make something happen. What I would do, first thing I would do is with any position need, I'm going to check the strength of schedule for the playoffs. Not only for the rest of the year, but specifically during the playoffs. Who's going to have a good playoff schedule? So if you're trading for, and I don't know the schedule off top, but let's say you're trading for Cooper Kupp, but in his final 3 games during the playoffs, he's going against Sauce Gardner, he's going against Patrick Surtain, he's going against this is Josh Johnson on Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So those are Jalen Johnson. So, those are some tough matchups, even though he's a quality player. Like, I'm like, okay, what do I want to kind of? I want a guy that's going to put up numbers. It's nothing like getting Cooper Kupp and he only does 7 points in the playoffs. I had Devontae Adams a few years ago and DeAndre Hopkins back before they were who they are now, and I had less than 5 points combined from both of them. So you definitely want to make sure that you're going to have a favorable. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be like a layup. Like right now, Raiders are like the optimal team. You want your players going against, especially if you got a running back. Like you want your running back going against the Raiders. So knowing that, if I'm looking for a running back, I'm gonna look at somebody that may have the Raiders sometime during that time span. When it comes to outside of schedule consideration. I'm looking at touches and targets. So I'm trading for people who are going to get volume, but not just empty volume. And when I mean empty volume, it's like, are you getting 20 touches, but you're not doing nothing with it? Like, I don't really care for a guy like that. That would be a guy like Javonte Williams, with the exception of this past week. Like, he was getting all the touches in the world, but he's churning out 40 yards rushing every week and like 2 receptions for 10 yards. So I want a guy. So like one guy that I would target, and I know it's gonna sound like I'm selling myself too, but with the change in the offense with Russell Wilson and the way that offense looked yesterday, I would look at Najee Harris because it looks like the passing game is going to open up a little bit more. Looks like the passing game is about to open up. And Najee yesterday on was it 19 touches at 102 yards.
And
so right, but he's going to continue to get the volume there. They're gonna continue to feed him the rock, and as long as Russell continues to be some type of a threat in the air, defenses are going to have to play them a bit more honest. They're not going to be able to just stack the box, like they did before. Breece Hall.
Hold on real quick. I don't want you. That is one thing you do not bring up. No Najee Harris. I've been trying to get this dude for daggone 2 weeks now. 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, he been.
Well, Jalen Warren's back, so opens up Harris more when Warren came back. So.
Yeah,
but go and finish.
But Breece Hall is another one. I know anybody in their right mind that gives up Breece Hall is crazy. But if you got the draft picks and you got the means to make it happen, with Devontae and with Garrett Wilson there's no way that they could put 8 in the box. They're going to have to play a base defense. They're going to have to play something where they got somebody covering those guys and somebody probably over top somewhere as well. So they're going to have to open up, which is going to create better lanes for Breece. And I mean, Breece was the number 1 receiver for the Jets yesterday, which is hilarious. But Breece Hall is another one for the running backs. But yeah, just studying that strength schedule. Touches and targets. Some guys, so Brian Thomas, I know Chase mentioned him earlier. Brian Thomas is a guy that is seeming like he's on a trajectory to do crazy numbers for the rest of the year. He just seems like a guy that he's a better athlete than the guys defending against him. And, if Trevor is in a pinch, he's going to throw it up and his guys got to be down there. And Brian Thomas seems to be a guy that can get down there. I think I saw a thing today where it was like the last time a player had 500 yards through 7 games or something like that, it was Randy Moss in 1998.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So yeah, so it's
so few receptions. Yes,
few receptions. Correct.
Right. Just to piggyback off what you said, for the year already, he's at 45 targets. So the last 3 weeks, week 5, 8 targets, week 6, 6 targets, week 7, 5 targets. So his targets start picking up in week 3, and it's been 9, 9, 8, 6, 5. So he's becoming the guy. He's becoming the guy.
And then the other thing about him is because of his skill set, he doesn't require as many catches to do something big. Like he's a guy that really he catch one up the sideline and all of a sudden you got 17 points because, he's got a reception and he's got 80 yards and a touchdown, so, it doesn't take much for him. So he's definitely a guy. And really you got to kind of assess, like, what do you want to do? This is why, when me and K Camp were talking before, it was like, you got to kind of ask yourself, like, what am I trying to do? Because if you're like, hey, I want to win, then if you want to win, sometimes you got to give up a little more to get those players that's going to help you get over the edge. If you're like, hey, I'm trying to build for the future, now's the time. If you start selling before everybody else, then you kind of corner the market a little bit. But if you wait until now, you waited until week 8 because you thought, like, I wasn't so sure, and now I know I'm trying to prepare for next year. Whereas 3 other guys that's also trying to sell for next year, and so now, you thought you could sell off Garrett Wilson for a first round pick, but the other guy is selling AJ Brown, and he's saying, like, give me 2 seconds, and so now you got competition. So you gotta really know, like, what is it that you're trying to do. The earlier you decide and lock in on that, the better. But yeah, for players that I would target, like I said, definitely Najee. If you could get Najee, I think he's a solid low. He may not have the ceiling that some of the other running backs have, but his floor is pretty stable, and that's kind of a good thing because, like, as we've seen with, like, a player like Breece, if his O-line don't show up for him, like, he might not get you nothing. He might get you 4 or 5 points. Najee, as long as he's healthy, he may not churn out 5 yards a carry, but he's going to steadily do 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards until he gets you 60 yards and a touchdown. So you'll get 12 points. And, that may be what you need to get you over the hump. You never know what you're going to get in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And so, there's some players that obviously people aren't going to sell. Like, nobody's moving off of Saquon. Nobody's moving off of Derrick Henry right now. Like, those guys are tops. You might be able to buy low on Kamara, but I also heard Kamara may be a trade target because he also told Sean Payton the other day, "Come get me." So
really,
he did. Yeah, he told Sean Payton at the game, "Come get me." So I don't know. Which Javonte hasn't been showing out like that. So that might be a dream come true for Sean Payton over there. And with the check
Saints,
down king.
The Saints, man, they trying to get off on that up on those contracts now too. So.
Right. Because they've been in cap hell for a couple years now. Like they've been basically just barely skating by. So yeah, if they can get off them contracts, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he'll be getting paid because I'm contract. They keep giving him guaranteed contracts.
Right. What's let me see. What's a receiver that I think you should try and target?
Go to tight end.
I'm sure y'all already talked about Cooper Kupp. Y'all already talked about Cooper Kupp and them, right?
That's what I say. Go to tight ends.
Tight ends. Okay. Tight ends with who is available. Hunter Henry, now that Drake May is starting to come on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good one to try and target. I think that offense is going to continue to get better as he gets a little more settled in.
Yep.
Cade Otton, I don't know what he's doing right now because I got the game paused. I need to start it back up. But
we won't Cade Otton. No. He
you don't think so?
No. So what about this guy right here? What about David?
David Njoku. So he was the next guy.
Yep.
When the quarterback go down and backup come in and that check down, he's gonna be the check down, the safety net. Yeah, I thought about him too. Is he healthy now?
But the thing about it is, if you actually think about, like, it'll be the exact same thing that he did last year, though. Like, around the same time is when he physically ended up being like that top 5 tight end because that backup QB came in. because Flacco came in and Flacco just pretty much just kept force feeding him the ball the entire time. He's the only one that he trusted. Same thing, like did Jameis. We saw what Jameis did. So
yeah, we'll have to go back to like was it 2023 whenever Joe Flacco played and see who he went through. So
yeah,
because pretty much everybody is still there except for Amari Cooper. So
yeah.
So one tight end you can probably go steal right now is Sam Laporta because he's fallen off for the Detroit Lions as far as targets. So you might could go steal him.
So, and I never said this when I traded. I don't think I said this anyway. When I traded Sam Laporta to Christian CFS, but he already had Amon-Ra St. Brown, and my thought process was there's no way both of them eat in the same week because of the fact that Amon-Ra mostly is going to be your slot guy. I was like, there's no way both of them eat in the same week. And so like 85% of the time, that's the case. Like if one of them really goes off, the other one has kind of a quiet game.
Right.
But Laporta, so the Lions right now, their identity seems to be run the ball and then let Jared Goff cook.
Yeah.
And that cooking is like downfield. Like, so his air yards right now is like 11 yards per attempt, which last year Brock Purdy led with the league with it was like 9.5 yards. 11 yards per attempt is crazy. Like, and not only is he, throwing it downfield, but he's accurate. Like they got more touchdowns in the last 4 games than incompletions. That's a crazy stat. So with him throwing more downfield and stuff like that, he's probably not going to be hitting Laporta so much. So you might be able to get Laporta for, you might be able to get somebody to buy Laporta. I don't know how low they would go for him, but yeah, he hasn't been the guy he was last year, which I know a lot of people expected him to repeat, but none of the tight ends have been who they were last year. So I mean, one thing I was about to say was, what's the other tight end on the Chiefs? Is it Noah Gray?
Gray.
Yep.
He's almost as valuable as Kelsey. I mean, he's getting. I mean, Kelsey not last week, but yesterday had 4 catches for like 30 yards or something like that.
Yeah,
something low like that. I mean, Noah Gray has been finding the end zone every other game. So I mean, he's not somebody that I would like spend money on. But if you're like, man, I need a tight end in a pinch, he might be somebody to grab. But yeah, tight end play has just been tough this year. Like really, if you don't have one of those, is basically and Isaiah Likely might be somebody also that you might be able to, but he's kind of inconsistent as well. So
yeah, he's a touchdown.
Yeah.
As of right now, I think.
And Juno Smith, he's a touchdown tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, Juno Smith out there, it seems like Tyler Huntley can't give it to Tyreek Hill, but he sure give it to Smith though.
Well, I'm gonna throw this guy out there. Like, tell me what y'all think about Jatavious Sanders. Mostly not saying that like he's gonna get you a lot of points, but I'm thinking about how bad the Panthers are. And over the past couple of games, like the past 3 games, he's always got 5 targets, 7 targets, and 6 targets. And most of that is like during garbage time. Yeah. So like we already know it's just fantasy. So the thing about it is we're just trying to just get the most points possible. And the team is always going to be bad. So like, why don't I just throw a guy like you could get like, and he's young too. He's a rookie. Like you could throw out like maybe a 2nd round pick, something like that for the guy that you know that he has that potential of being good down the future.
I like him. Yeah, I like Sanders. He was one of the tight end. He was actually my 2nd rated tight end in this class. So I like him. He hasn't had the opportunities that Bowers has had, but I think he's, a heck of an athlete and receiving tight end. And I think once he does start getting more targets, he's gonna be legit. But you just gotta assess like where you are. And my bad, man. I'm trying to figure out where my camera is here. You gotta assess like where you are. So like if you're like in a win now mode, he may not be a guy I'm targeting. But if you're like, man, I'm trying to get some pieces for the future. I might be like, hey, you know, I'll trade you this for your team so you can win. Trade me Jatavious Sanders so that next year, when hopefully the Panthers are not as bad as they are now, you know, you've already got that guy stashed on your squad, you know. And that's when I'm thinking about like planning for next year, or, you know, the next season, that's kind of how I have to address it. It's like, okay, you know, who's a guy that his team doesn't look good right now, his performance isn't great right now, but I know that he's eventually going to be good. Let me get that guy now so that I'm not trying to fight for him next year before people start talking about him and stuff like that. But of course, you got to, you know, if you know that this guy is like that. But
well, that's the thing though.
yeah.
Like with him, what I'm thinking is that like he's like that throwing piece that you do in like a big trade, saying like, hey, like let's just do this, and this. Oh, and then like, yeah, you got such up on your team. Let me just go and kick this into him. Like just go and put him up in the package just to make it just to make the actual numbers work or something like that. Even though up on the back end, you're physically knowing that, hey, I want this guy a part of my future and everything.
Right. Yeah, you definitely gotta sweet talk it to make it work.
Yeah,
and get it in there low.
Yep. Speaking on Carolina, I mean, you gotta understand Dave Canales. He's not loving this, and I know he's gonna let all these guys go after the season. These are guys that he stuck with. The owner probably said you're gonna have to play with these guys. I already paid them. So you know, next season we're gonna really see what Dave Canales is really gonna do, because the only thing he really did when he got there, he's traded for Deontay Johnson. You know, he was trying to get Mike Evans to come over there with him. He was trying to get all these players to come over with him, and they were like, "Nah, that's Carolina. I'm gonna stay where I'm at." And but you know, they got to get a quarterback. Andy Dalton, Bryce Young, them guys are not going to sell you.
They got their quarterback. I'm telling y'all, they got their quarterback.
I would trade his ass so quick.
Yep. Let's go.
They paid too much to only give him a season and a game. They paid too much.
Yep.
They
got to let it ride at least for one more season.
Nah, it won't be happening. Owner doesn't. Owner is hot.
Dave Canales is hot. Dave Canales went from divisional game to the Carolina Panthers. He hot. He probably like, shit, why leave Tampa? Just stay where I was at.
Yeah. All right, so let's go and go to the next segment. It is Mr. K Camp's favorite segment is CGP News, and this is where we talk about pretty much all the injuries that has happened during the week. Pretty much we're gonna start off with like Deshaun, like we already mentioned him before, with that Achilles. Sad to see, because what your favorite author did say, he was cooking and everything. He was doing his best. He's playing his best ball now, even though I don't think personally he liked being there in Cleveland because of the offense. Then also we can talk about Mr. Brandon Ayuk, who just had a season-ending injury as well. Like,
golly,
it's
ACL, MCL.
Yep. So this is the injury. It's pretty much news around the league. We already know Cooper Kupp is about to come back next week. I know a lot of people are excited about that. We know Tua's coming back as well. Hopefully that's going to be able to boost Tyreek Hill's numbers, because Tyreek Hill has not been doing nothing really with Tua being out. And we know Tyreek Hill is that type of boomer bust player that you do enjoy having on your team.
Two other players, DK Metcalf is week to week with an MCL sprain, I believe. And Jaden Daniels is also week to week. So they originally thought he had broken ribs, and now I think he just has it's the cartilage between his ribs is the issue. You remember what Tyrod? Yeah, you remember what Tyrod Taylor had, where they had to do the injections? Yeah.
Well, his lung.
And they pierced his lung. Yeah, I think that's the injury where he had the bruised rib cartilage, but. I think that's a pain management thing. So if he does miss any time, it'll probably just 1 week. I don't think he'll miss anything beyond that. Deebo Samuel has pneumonia and fluid on his lungs. He's in the hospital right now. So my son during COVID had something similar. took a while for him to get over that. Now it was a little bit different because my son also had a collapsed lung, but that may be something. Excuse me. That may be something that kind of hinders him. He may be able to play through it, but it's maybe something where he's going to be maybe taking a lot of plays off, like, do a couple series and go to the sideline for a little bit, things like that. Any other injuries that I can think of? I'm just going through stuff that I remember.
Ain't no Connell. He broke his thumb.
Okay.
Right. They actually
as well.
I think they just signed. The Raiders just signed Desmond Ridder. I think.
What?
I think they just signed Desmond Ridder. Yeah. As a backup quarterback for the, which that's Chad's guy, but I don't know if that's gonna do anything to move the needle. I mean, they already got Gardner Minshew. I just rock with that. But who else? All right, let's go through AFC West. So Chargers, Chiefs. Juju had the hamstring.
Yeah, Juju. Yep.
Oh,
I was like,
Juju.
we won't do all that, man. We just do off the top of our head, man. We just keep it going.
Oh, off the top. Okay. Well, all right.
We just keep it going.
Oh.
If we ain't got the rest of them, then we good to go. Monday.
Mike Evans is out. He will not return.
Okay, but you think it's a hamstring though? So
yeah, that was said hamstring injury.
So if that's the case, then for a fact who's going to end up getting fed the ball. Mr. Chris Godwin stocks are about to rise.
The Sterling Sharp.
Yep.
Wait, so y'all don't believe in Cade Otton?
Cade Otton? No, he's just blocking, man. He's just a blocker.
Man, Cade Otton.
3-4 passes tonight.
Okay, all right. We're gonna see. I'm gonna revisit that with y'all. Because I think Cade he could low key end up being a top 10 tight end.
Okay.
Really?
All right.
Which top 10 ain't hard to do.
I ain't saying much, right?
But I'm just saying, I think
you do realize Hunter Henry is in your top 5 tight ends, right? So yeah, anything possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It can happen, man. It can happen.
All right, so let's go to that next segment. We're gonna do the buy, sell, and hold on established stars versus young up and coming comers. So pretty much we're gonna say example CeeDee Lamb. Are we gonna buy, sell, or hold on him? And then the next up and comer young stud wide receiver or Malik Neighbor, something like that. So that's what we're gonna end up doing up in this segment right here. Trying to see which one would you do. Would you either buy one of these guys? Would you sell them? Would you hold them? What are your thoughts? Things like that. So we'll kick it off right there. We'll start off with that one that I just mentioned, CeeDee Lamb and then Malik Neighbors. What are you doing? Are you buying, selling, or holding? We got established stars, which is him. And then we also got Malik Neighbors right there, which is up and coming.
I'm selling CD. I'm buying on Neighbors though.
No matter who the quarterback in New York, they got a quarterback.
No matter who the quarterback.
Interessante.
I mean, we seen with Daniel Jones him give top wide receiver weeks. So if we know that he can do it with Daniel Jones, I mean, Daniel Jones is a below average to average quarterback. They're not going to get much worse than that, and he's still the top target. He's the guy that he's going to get open. I'm buying that. We've seen the talent. He got now. There's some questions about him as a professional. How he handles things as a professional, but I'm buying in on the talent. As for why I'm selling on CD, I think that Cowboys offense is too one-dimensional. And it is going to cause them to start to have much less success on offense, which we've kind of already seen. But Dak is he's only looking one way. And because of that, a good defense can key off of that and shut that down. If the offense isn't able to function on all levels, like, the run game's working, other receivers are able to complement the number one, then you just got one guy that's being force fed, like, going back to Neighbors. If Daniel Jones can't hit, if he can't hit Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson's getting off over there. Like, Wan'Dale Robinson's been good this year.
Sneaky, right? A lot of targets.
And so, a defense, they can key in on Neighbors, but then Wan'Dale's going to eat. So they gotta be a little more honest. But it seems like Dak is like, hey man, the CD over everything, and that's where he's gonna throw it to. And I just think that the Cowboys offense, I don't think McCarthy is creative enough to make things, go there. And I think Dak he's been in the league long enough now to where he's starting to form habits. And I think CD is kind of like how Aaron Rodgers is with Devontae Adams, but I don't think CD is a Devontae Adams level receiver. So I'm selling on CD.
Okay. All right, man. The next buy and hold person that we're gonna put out there. Let's go and keep it going. Let's put Justin Jefferson and let's do Marvin Harrison Jr. What we doing right here?
I'm buying JJ. We see what JJ's doing without a quarterback.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison's still only had 2 good games. I don't know what's going on with Kyler. So, and that offense, I have no idea. So, yeah, I'm gonna take JJ over MH Jr. all day, every day.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Chase? Are you doing the same thing? Thinking hard.
You said Jefferson. Who else?
And then Marvin Harrison Jr.
I'm selling. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna hold on to Marvin Harrison Jr. because you never know what he's gonna do. But I'm selling JJ. We're gonna sell him while it's hot. We all know Sam Darnold. You know how he starts off hot for 5 and then he's not for the last 5. So I don't know if Minnesota's for real. Right now for JJ, you probably get a good, nice little load for him if you need it. Let's just say you're 2 players away. I would throw JJ out there. If you're in a standard league where you don't have salary, you just got picks, then 2 first-round picks and maybe Devontae A-Chain for JJ. That'd be a good trade. We gotta look at your team and all that, but Marvin Harrison, I'll just hang on to him. I wouldn't sell him. I wouldn't buy him. If someone is selling him for cheap, I would go buy him just to hold him on your roster because him and Kyler Murray doesn't see eye to eye yet. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with that. So until they figure that out, you can hang on to him as a young guy. Still got a couple of years under the belt. It wouldn't be a risk. I wouldn't risk a first-round pick for him. But JJ, most definitely, we selling. We buying, we selling wherever JJ at. We're gonna sell them if we got them, and we don't got them. We're gonna try to buy them for cheap while he's hot. So,
okay, yeah, I like both guys. So I probably would end up holding on both of them. No, I'll probably sell JJ so I can get some draft capital. It depends based on how my team is really.
Right,
my team is in like that win now mode, then I'll try to keep JJ. But if I want to do like a total rebuild based off player and name, I should be able to get a decent haul back just for that guy. And we don't know who the QB will be next year, but they already know who they're going to throw the ball to. They already got their number one. They'll probably end up studying his route tree and like what he runs good or what he runs best. So they should have a game plan for him. So I think it's a win-win up on both sides.
I mean, like right now, Arizona's struggling.
They know who that quarterback going to be.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. They're struggling right now. And the Los Angeles Wolverines, they're not doing anything spectacular out there. So
you should have Los Angeles Wolverines.
Because have you looked at the practice squad? Hey, you saw the practice squad, bro. He done signed everybody from Michigan on the practice squad.
For real?
Yeah, look at the practice squad, man. Like receiver, Michigan, running back, Michigan, safety, Michigan. I was like, what the hell? Hey, he probably told him like, hey, you come with me. Oh, look at this. Oh, Jalen had a fumble and everything. He's sorry ass.
I think I would. I'm definitely holding on JJ. I'm not selling JJ. But on Harrison, I think I might sell on Harrison. So for right now, so they got him running real X receiver routes. So he's running all the, got him on the outside. He's solitary by himself, and he got to create space and he got to get open. I think he is trying to finesse these routes and create space for himself. And I don't think he's approaching it from a physicality standpoint. And I don't think these NFL DBs are letting him get off with it. And so because of the scheme that they run, if they ran the air raid, I would be keeping him because I think Kyler thrived in the air raid. I don't think this current system is one that Kyler is as comfortable with because you got to remember Kyler did air raid high school, college, and the start of his professional career. So he's always done the air raid. I don't think this system is as comfortable for him. And because of that, I don't think Kyler is going to be the quarterback to unleash Marvin Harrison. The issue is I don't think Kyler is going anywhere anytime soon. And if anything, they'll end up firing the coach before they, get rid of Kyler. So that can mean new system all over again and all that stuff that can hinder a young player's career. So if I'm doing anything with Marvin Harrison, I'm probably selling him. The talent, we've seen what happens when, he gets the opportunities. The talent is there, but how many opportunities is he going to really get to showcase that? It's obvious in New York with Neighbors that they're passing the ball. That's what Dayball wants to do. And they're finding ways to get Neighbors open. Neighbors is also getting himself open, but they're finding ways to get him open. I don't think they're creating those situations for here goes Dortch. I don't think they're creating those situations for Harrison. I think they're expecting Harrison to be, hey, we drafted you to be this guy. We're putting you out here. You got to do it on your own, create your own opportunities. And I think he's still, generational talent, title aside, I don't think he's ready at the NFL level to just go out there and just make it happen. And I think it's going to take some time and probably a system that's going to give him a few layups every once in a while. And I don't think this system is built that way.
Okay.
And they not because Marvin Harrison has to play the slot. He can't play outside. He's been playing outside left and right. And he ain't been playing the slot at all. So that's the problem with him.
All right, we're gonna go to the running backs for a little bit, and then let's go and kick it off. What about I know this guy. No, let's do this first. Saquon Barkley. Are we buying, selling, or holding with him versus Bijan Robinson? What we doing up in this situation?
For this year, Dynasty? We playing Dynasty? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I don't even know. Saquon signed a 3-year contract.
Yep.
The last two wake up with Bijan. I guess you go with a young. I mean, if you're trying to win now, I'm going with Saquon. If I'm trying to win now, I'm going with Saquon. That's just what it is.
Yep, agree.
But the thing about that, who is actually selling Saquon?
Nobody.
Yeah, Saquon is a player that everybody gonna hold on to right now.
Yeah, buddy.
I think you could convince somebody to sell Bijan.
Yeah, I think you can, especially with like the touches with like Tyler Algier. So what do you think it's gonna take for somebody? What do you think it's going to take just to get Bijan Robinson off the guy's team? Like, I think like the window to buy him was during the offseason, which now they're actually seeing what his capability is in that offense now again. I know a lot of owners are probably frustrated because they wanted him to be that bell cow like a Saquon, like a Derrick Henry, but he's not getting that opportunity.
Well, that's what they promoted to us, though. That's the thing. All season, they're like, they're going to use me like they use CMC in San Fran. And we haven't seen that not 1 week. Not 1 week have we seen that type of usage. And so this off season, I think it would have been hard to get somebody to buy this off season, because if I got Bijan and I keep hearing, oh, they're gonna use him like CMC. Oh, I ain't selling. I'm selling him for CMC prices, like prime CMC prices. But now when I look at how they're using him, it's more of a like an Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams on the Packers situation, where it's like he's kind of the Lightning and Tyler Algier is the Thunder, and they're both getting enough usage in the offense where it's like, you could take Tyler Algier as a low, flyer and get decent running back numbers from him. Like he can get you, 60 yards and a touchdown, and you'll be like, I'm satisfied with that. You can get him for cheap. Bijan is just going to depend on the week. So if I'm trying to buy him, or if I'm trying to convince somebody to sell him to me, I mean, I would do like a first and a player, but especially because next year is going to be a good running back class. Like, I probably would do like look, man, I give you a first and a player. Because there's some good running backs coming out next year, and you might be able to get a guy that might have a better situation than Bijan. And don't get me wrong,
I'm glad you said that. Let's go on quick to like the next guy who I'm going to. It is Mr. Breece Hall, or are we doing the next number one running back, Ashton Gentry? Which one you doing? Are you buying Breece? Are you selling? Or are you going for the next up and comer?
Hell
so
no, he is selling it.
If I have, you're talking about if I have Breece and I have the ability to get Ashton Gentry?
Well, I'm saying like,
I'm selling. No, I'm selling. I'm getting Ashton. I'm getting Ashton. If I know for a fact I'm getting Ashton. So y'all remember how it was when I got Breece, right? Before the draft even happened, I said Breece Hall, no matter where he went, and everybody was like, he went to the Jets, and I was like, I don't care. Breece Hall, no matter what. Ashton Gentry, no matter where he goes, I'm the same way. Like y'all look, we was talking about it over the weekend, man. The way that man stands in the backfield, he's a psychopath, man. I want that on my team. I want that on my team. I want that on my team, man. So if I, and now the reason why I say I would sell it is because I also have Braylon Allen. So if I can move Breece Hall to get Ashton Gentry, I'm making that move. But I have to know for a fact that's what the trade is going to result in. Like, I ain't trying to trade it, and it's like I end up with 104 or something like that, and then I can't get Gentry. But if I know for a fact I'm getting Ashton Gentry, I'm trading Breece Hall for that. Yeah.
Well, that's the best thing, though. Like, man, like the luck of the draw, man. That's who you want. So you might have to trade, do a little something extra just to get up there, just to get him, though.
They got him projected to go to the Cowboys. Hell no. Hell no.
They need a running
man.
back.
I'll take him where. All right. Well, look, Chase. Let's talk about this now. If you get Gentry and you want Breece Hall, you come knock on my door, because I will give you Breece in a heartbeat for Gentry.
All right, we need a TikTok. We need TikTok. Cut this up. All right. So when he says, "Oh, never mind," I was just playing.
Nah, I'll give him to you in a heartbeat for Gentry.
All right, that's
I just threw that out. Yeah, I threw that out there because we already know he's going to be a good running back coming into the league, and this is just really hard to pick a running back area. I'm not trying to give up some other gems that are out there that are coming. This actually depends on who all comes out. There's at least 6 to 7 that are going to come out strong. But then you got some guys that are coming in the wing that could be that extra 5 that are still going to be just as good. It's just you don't know nothing about them because they're playing up on bad teams.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I got a list of 3 that I want. Genty is number 1.
Who's the other guys that you got up on that list?
Well, I've already talked about one of them. Y'all know who my team is. So Amarion Hampton. That's my guy.
Okay.
So y'all know for Carolina, and then the other one goes to Well, he used to play for the Razorbacks, I believe.
Not Rocket.
Not Rocket.
I think they call him Rocket. That's one of the other guys that
they used to
you know
call
what I'm saying.
Now he just Raheem down. He don't do much down there in South Carolina.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah, those are 3 guys on my list. But Hampton is my number 2, but Genty is my number 1. Hampton has been my number 1 up until Genty this year, and I was like, man, yeah.
All right, we're gonna go to this last segment just to get everybody else. This is the unique angle. So, like in this segment, we actually want to do like a checklist. What is the checklist to get people ready for their actual championship run or an actual rebuild? So we know the first thing we're doing is like, what's the first thing you're doing? Example, I'll go off gate. I'm looking at the playoff schedule. So that's one thing that I'm doing for like the running back, quarterback, and running back, and then tight ends. I'm looking at the playoff schedule to see which players and teams have the best schedule. And then y'all take it off from there. So that's number 1 right there.
Along with playoff schedule, I'm checking game locations. So one of the things about Jared Goff this year, and it could be part of the reason why he's being so successful, is most of his games are going to be in the dome this year.
Yep.
I think 15 of his games are in the dome this year.
Yep.
That impacts things, you know, versus teams who like they playing outside and it's cold outside, So in January you don't want to be playing in Buffalo outside and you can't hold on to a football. So things like that to consider. I didn't always do this, but handcuffs, deciding on which handcuffs I need and if I really need them or not. Like every handcuff ain't built the same, right? Like I was fortunate enough to have some foresight on the Jordan Mason CMC thing, and I knew that Jordan Mason would deliver on our offense. But Trey Sermon is not Jonathan Taylor. And so having him as a handcuff isn't going to help you as much as having like Jaylen Warren with Najee or, having Bucky Irving if you've got Rashad White or something like that. Like those guys are like guys that like we know that if they're a replacement for my player, I'm going to still get good production. Every handcuff ain't equal. I saw one of the guys from our league when Chris Olave went down. He put in Bub Means. He never heard of Bub Means before that week, but that was the guy that was playing in Chris Olave's spot, and he probably got like 3 points off of that. Every handcuff ain't equal, so making sure that if you're gonna take a handcuff, that you got a guy that is gonna actually give you quality production. Otherwise, don't waste the roster spot.
Okay. What about yours, Mr. Chase?
Both definitely, you're right. Let's look at the weather, look at the field. You want to get the most successful. And also, let's look at the injuries. Who's in between week 7, week 8 until week 13? Most people, fantasy starts, playoffs start around week 15, 16. Some start week 14. You want to look at the quarterbacks. How long have they make it? Like, if you have a Joe Burrow, do you move off Joe because by week 10, week 11, he may get hurt? Or do you look at, or do you just stick it out? The main thing is you got to make sure. I would probably go get an extra quarterback just to have on the bench, just in case something happens. You always want to be injury ready. Like my 32 team league I'm in, like I had been devastated with injury after injury after injury, and because the roster's so big, you can't really hold anybody. So you have to like just once they hurt, they hurt. So Jonathan Taylor is the main example. You got Tyler Goodson, you got Trey Sermon. So both of them are doing what they're supposed to do. So you just got to make sure hit that waiver wire, check that weather, check your quarterbacks, check them injuries, and just make sure that you're getting well prepared for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay, and let's end it off with you, Mr. K Camp. What's the one thing that you're trying to add to this checklist?
I mean, look at and to all y'all points. Like, so you're looking at the championship, not the championship, but the playoffs, right? The weeks 15, 16, 17. You know, look at a player's tendencies, right? So, like, for example, like Tua, their September, October team. They get cold. They go up to Buffalo. They go to the Jets. It's cold out there. He don't perform real well in that outdoor in that cold. So, you know what I'm saying? Take a look at that, right? That affects Tyreek. That affects Jalen Waller. You know, it probably might not affect the running game so much, but as far as the passing game, yeah, I'm not trying to get him or them, out there during the playoff weeks because I know it's cold out there. Back to your Jared Goff point. Who is Jared Goff? Those 3 games that he played outside, are they during the playoff weeks? So, yeah, look at the person's tendency, look at who they're playing, look at what time of the year it is when they play. We know Jared Goff don't really do good outside. He's better in the dome. We know Tua does better when it's warm outside. So,
yeah, go look at Carolina and the Saints records and see who they playing in the playoffs because by that time it's over with.
Right, they folding it. They folding it in. They just trying not to get too hurt. Somebody hurt. So, God damn, Baker.
Yeah, I don't know what Baker out here doing. He channeling back to Cleveland Browns.
But yeah, so that is the checklist, everybody. That's your checklist. So what we ended up doing this show, we had your strategy focus, then we had fantasy question of the week, then we had CGP news, we had the buy, sell, hold, where we established stars versus your young up and comers, and then we had a unique angle where we gave you a checklist just to get ready for the playoffs. And this was the roundtable of the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. We would like to thank your favorite author and Mr. Chase from Chasing Bets for actually showing up. And Mr. K Camp, we like to do it here and best and everything. So go on and hit us off with a nice good one.
Hey, we thank y'all for coming out. Y'all for listening. We know you could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with us. And we appreciate that. Spread love, not hate.
Spread love, not hate.
All right, Christian. Now, don't be asking me about Najee once we get off the air.